OneSteel and Bluescope both came out with their results this week. Not a great prognosis. Bluescope lost $530 million in the first half, OneSteel $74 million. Here's Bluescope's Paul O'Malley.
We can't afford to be complacent, and our challenge inside Bluescope is to find more opportunities to reduce our costs, and that's what we're focused on at the moment.
Well, they're both still hemorrhaging. So how do you see their future?
They're in different positions. Bluescope is much more exposed to steel markets than OneSteel, because OneSteel made a fortuitous decision, or a clever decision, to vertically integrate. So it's got its own iron ore mines, another one coming on stream later this year, and it has grinding materials. It's the world's biggest supplier of grinding materials to the resource sector. So they've got some insulation from what's happening in the steel market, where raw material costs, so iron ore and coal, have gone through the roof, and steel prices have gone through the floor. And the pressure from both sides has decimated Bluescope, which has been forced to do quite radical things to survive. So they're shutting down their export steel capacity, so the furnace at Port Kembla and the hot strip mill down at Hastings in Victoria. They're taking $700 million out of their cost base. They had an emergency capital raising late last year, 600 mil, without which they'd probably be dead today. They're certainly improving their position. Whether there's some sort of endpoint that's stable and viable, I think the jury's out.
Would you buy them now, Giselle?
No, you have to say that what you've seen is just a bit of relief rally, that some of the restructuring is on the way, the recognition that these are big issues. But you'd have to debate whether the underlying assets still will need to be written down again, and who's interested in them on a global scale. It's almost down to asset value based. I mean,
well, the share price has come down in enormous amounts. Yeah. Like, look at this graphic that we've got of their share price over the past 5 years. I mean, that's horrendous. I mean, Bluescope's price has nearly disappeared to nothing.
Well, and that's reflective of the fact that it was borderline survival case before the capital raising. As Steve says, the OneSteel has got the iron ore and seems to be trying to transform itself into essentially a mining company. And the steel, as they say themselves, the name will disappear, and they presumably hope at least no further damage from that.
OneSteel has actually had probably one of the biggest rallies after the profit season. So, you know, they've been quite a relief rally, whereas Bluescope's still at 41 cents. Their emergency raising was at 40 cents. So poor punters who paid $8 a share 5-6 years ago, they've seen billions lost. And I agree with Steve, they would have gone broke, but for hundreds of millions from the federal government, 100 million of which came through in the latest results, much of which is funding, you know, large redundancy payouts. And then the $600 million emergency raising at 40 cents, which fell short.
So will they survive?
Oh, I think they've got their debt down from $1.5 billion to about 700 or 800 million now. So their balance sheet is fixed. But can you see big profits? Can you ever see a share price getting back above 60, 70 cents? Can't see it. I think there's some permanent destruction of value there, and it's almost a workout.
I don't disagree with that, but I think there's this tiny glimmer of hope that if you look at what they said about the results, iron ore prices have come off a little bit, as have coal. So they're still at very, very high levels by historicals now, but not as high as they were. And steelmakers around the world are in the same bind and are starting to pull capacity out of the market, as the Australian steelmakers have done. So if you could get a better supply-demand balance, maybe the industry becomes more viable. But we're a long way off